This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England football supporters podcast. Hope you're good. Hope you've enjoyed some of the recent episodes that have come your way. They've generally been book related, haven't they? This one isn't though. And I'll get onto that very soon. But of late I've been speaking with some really interesting people. So I've got a few episodes planned to put out for you for the foreseeable. Don't forget that any of those previous ones that you may have missed, as always, can be found at your podcast provider of choice or threelionspodcast.com. Now, coming up, I'm going to touch on the Nations League and the January transfer window that has just recently shut. But the main bulk of this episode is where I'm talking with Mark Griffiths from On the Ball Travel. Those of you who have previously travelled on one of his coaches or perhaps booked on one for the upcoming Italy-Naples trip may find this interesting, as I hope anyone listening will do. But that's still to come. First though, the January transfer window. I'm not going to look at the excessive amount of money that once again has been spent, or how clubs managed to circumnavigate FFP. That's for someone else to talk about. But let's talk English players. To be honest, not a lot of massive moves concerning England players, but the ones that do include Jack Butland. On the 6th of January, he moved on loan from Crystal Palace to Manchester United as backup to David De Gea. He's 29 years old. He's won 9 England caps, first of which was back in 2012 when we travelled to Bern in Switzerland for a 2-1 friendly win over Italy. He only played the first half there as he was replaced by John Ruddy. Forgotten about him, hadn't you? Butland was at Birmingham City back then. He's since spent a fair amount of time at Stoke City, but he's also had loan periods at the likes of Leeds, Derby, Barnsley, before making a permanent move to Palace in 2020. And his last time wearing a Three Lions goalkeeping shirt was in the 2018 1-0 friendly over Switzerland at Leicester. And interestingly, of those 9 caps, only 2 were played at Wembley. Will he get another cap? I would doubt it. He may find himself a squad member if maybe Ramsdale or Pope are injured, but I can't see him making a pitch in an England shirt anytime soon. 10th of January. This is an important one. Stephen Corker. Remember him? 3 yards out, 1 cap, 1 goal in 2012 away to Sweden in a friendly. I feel like I mention him every time a transfer window comes round. He's had a period of time in Turkey. Well, that has come to an end as he's joined Wigan Athletic on loan. As the saying goes, he's had more clubs than Tiger Woods. Wigan appears to be his 14th. Anyway, not that he really counts anymore as he can no longer play for England. As in 2021, he switched his allegiances to play for Sierra Leone. 20th of January, Danny Ings. Now here's a fact for you. There are only 3 players with a surname beginning with I to have played for England. Danny Ings, Paul Ince, you'll never get the other one, James Iremonger, who played twice in 1901 and 1902. Anyway, Danny Ings, 3 England caps between 2015 and 2020. His debut came as a sub for Harry Kane away to Lithuania in a 3-0 away win. That whilst a player at Liverpool. And his only other 2 appearances, both behind closed doors due to the pandemic, away to Iceland in September 2020, and then in the 3-0 win at Wembley over Wales, where he scored. To date, his only England goal. And that was whilst he was at Southampton. And since then, he moved to Aston Villa before moving to West Ham this year in the hope of helping them avoid the drop. Will he play for England again? Highly unlikely, in my opinion. 29th of January. Anthony Gordon. He moved from Everton to Newcastle in a £45 million deal in what, frankly, had become a bit of a messy situation. Now, he hasn't actually played for the senior team yet, but he's played 9 times for the under-21s, scoring 4, including 2 on his debut in November 21. Now, he's also represented the 18s, 19s and under-20s. This is an interesting one. He's only 21, turns 22 later this month. He had a good period last season where he was scoring and being spoken about highly. I'm going to hold judgment for the time being. 45 million is a lot of money for a youngster, and we know how English transfer fees can be inflated. But Newcastle have the money, obviously, don't they? It's intriguing. Obviously, teaming up with Eddie Howe, whom many a time has been mentioned in the same breath as the England manager's position. If they can strike up a good relationship, 45 million in a few years' time may seem like a snip, a bargain. Not just for Newcastle, but for England too. 31st of January, here's another good one, similar to Stephen Corker. Nathaniel Chalobah has moved from Fulham to West Brom. Now, he's got quite the England career. To his credit, he came through the England pathway, 16s, 17s, 19s, 20s, and 40 appearances for the 21s. But in 2018, away to Spain in that Nations League match, the 3-2 win, he came on for Harry Winks with 90 minutes and 13 seconds played. The game played out until 97 minutes, and apparently he has played 1 second more for England than Martin Kelly did when he played against Norway in 2012. Another one who is highly unlikely to ever wear the 3 Lions again. Also on deadline day, John Joe Shelvey moved from Newcastle to Nottingham Forest for an undisclosed fee. And between 2012 and 2015, he won 6 caps without scoring. Will he wear an England shirt again? Doubtful. And I think that's all on the men's senior front. Now, there have been some Lionesses moves too. As always, let's try and keep you up to date with those. Lucy Staniforth moved from Manchester United to Aston Villa. She's come through the Lionesses age groups up to the senior side, where she's made 17 appearances and scoring twice to date. Jordan Nobbs also went to Aston Villa from Arsenal. She made her debut for the Lionesses back in 2013 and has since earned 69 caps with 8 goals to her name. But she's been really unfortunate with injuries in her time, missing both the 2019 World Cup and the Euros last year. She'll be really looking towards getting back into the squad this year. Big year for the Lionesses, of course, with the World Cup. And Bethany England moved from Chelsea to Tottenham, reportedly to have been for a cost of $250,000, which broke the record for a domestic women's transfer. 21 caps for England, 11 goals. But I always feel that within the past, Ellen White was ahead of her. And now with the likes of Ella Toone, Alessia Russo, Chloe Kelly, she's never really considered a starter. She'll always do a job, guaranteed, but never one to make the starting 11, always to come off the bench. But she is already scoring for Spurs, so that may change. All 3 of those, Lucy Staniforth, Jordan Nobbs, Bethany England, all more than likely to wear the Lionesses shirt again in the future. Meanwhile, some of you may have heard that there has been a few slight tweaks to the structure of the Nations League. I've had a look at it, digested it, and hopefully I've worked out how it affects us. Although there is no clarification of any South American teams participating as yet. You may remember that was something that was spoken about a while back. Perhaps that was just all paper, internet talk. And it's not the first time the structure has been changed for the Nations League, and I'm 100% sure that it won't be the last. But I'm going to try and make this as easy to understand as possible, as I know some still struggle with the original format. I think this is where I'd insert a winking emoji. At first, though, for those that aren't aware, the third final is scheduled to take place this year between the 14th and the 18th of June. It's when we will be playing in Malta. Now, this year's finals sees the Netherlands play Croatia and Spain take on Italy in both the semi-finals. Obviously, the winners play each other to see who wins the third Nations League. And then there's that third place game, isn't there? Recently, they announced that these games will take place in Rotterdam and Enschede in the Netherlands. I hope I've pronounced that right. I think it's where Twente play, FC Twente. So, currently, as the Nations League stands at the moment, the winners of the top 4 groups in League A all go forwards towards the finals. Just as I said, the Netherlands, Croatia, Spain and Italy have all done this year. The bottom 4 all get relegated to League B. Sadly, as I have to remind you, that's ourselves, Austria, the Czech Republic and Wales. Leagues B and C, the winners get promoted, bottom team gets relegated. As there are 55 teams within UEFA, League D is a little uneven and involves a play-off with a couple of League C relegated teams to work out its outcome. Now, on the 25th of January, UEFA announced some changes designed to make it, and I quote, a more compelling competition with more interesting and attractive knockout matches. That is according to the UEFA Deputy General Secretary, Giorgio Marchetti. He's the one, grey-haired little man with glasses, who sort of pulls the balls out of the pots when the draws come round. I'm pretty sure that's him. So as of the 4th season of the competition, which will take place in September 2024, this is after the European Championships in Germany. There will be 2 games in September, 2 in October and 2 in November. Then the format will be adjusted to incorporate a 2-legged promotion or relegation playoff in the following March. So March 2025. All seems so long away. So finishing top or second of League A now gives you the chance to go to the finals. So, for example, looking back on the most recent season's group stage, Croatia, they won Group A1. Denmark, they finished second. Spain won A2 with Portugal second. Now, these 4 teams, along with the 4 that finished first and second in A3 and A4, they would all go into a quarter-final, where first-place Croatia would play second-place Portugal, and first-place Spain would play second-place Denmark. And obviously the same for A3 and A4 teams. These games would be over 2 legs, and the winners from those going forwards to the finals, along with the winners from the other 2 quarter-finalists. So it could be you finish second in your league, and you go forward to the final and you win the thing. That's how it could end up. And still talking League A, finishing bottom is still automatic relegation, but finishing third in the group qualifies you for the relegation playoffs. And this is where we could come in. Finishing third means you'll have a 2-legged playoff against a second-place team from the league below. so League B, again played in March 2025. And if the League A team beats the League B team in the playoff, both teams would then remain in their respective leagues. But if B beats A, then they would swap leagues for the following campaign. And as unfortunately I have to remind myself and you, we were relegated to League B last time. Yeah, you remember Italy, Germany and Hungary. So finishing top of League B, gaining promotion and replacing the relegated League A team will be our main priority. If this was to happen, then I would imagine we would arrange a friendly game or two for March 2025. But if we were to finish second, as I was just mentioning, then we would be involved in that two-legged playoff. Still with me? This format of promotion relegation playoffs is then replicated for the bottom of League B and League C too. I'll be honest, I've not really analysed League D, as I'm quietly confident that that won't affect us long term. Wow. I really hope I've explained that, first of all, correctly and comprehensively. But the more I read this, the more I think, was it really necessary? I guess, as we've previously witnessed, we'll see how this all pans out and if it's a success or not.
Now it's my pleasure to welcome back to the Three Lions podcast, England and Wolves fan Mark Griffiths. Hello, Mark.
How you doing, Russ? All right. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning too. Yeah, I'm well, thank you. I know we last spoke when you gave us a guide to Wolverhampton last year prior to the Hungary game there, and yeah, it helped me out because I seem to remember you saying there's a monument, the Man on the Horse, and I found that, and I found a pub next door to it. So help me out. Great stuff.
You can't go wrong with the Man on the Horse.
That's right. But back then, and we're not going to mention the game, but
probably best not.
No, back then you also mentioned, of course, about On the Ball Travel, which is the sports football travel organisation that you run, and we said, yeah, let's make some time to have a chat about that, and here we are, end of January. We've made some time, and I thought, yeah, let's find out a little bit more about On the Ball Travel. I thought,
yeah, okay, no problem.
Go on, take us back to the beginning. I know what. Let's have a chat. How it all started, some of the stories that have happened along the way, and then I know that a lot of people you've been speaking with recently and trying to organise a trip for a forthcoming European qualifier. We'll get to that towards the end. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sound.
Go on, take us back to the beginning.
Yeah, well, where it came about was around about 10 years ago now, 2013. I was pretty much bored with what I was doing as a day job, which I still do now, and I'm no longer bored with it. But at the time, I thought, there's got to be something else. And I don't mind mentioning Miles. Miles is a great bloke. And I thought, you know what? He does a good job there. There must be a market for, not just him. So I'll have a bash at it myself. So what I did, my intentions was to do what Miles did, basically charter flights. So I went through the rigmarole of getting the ATOL, and I was chuffed with myself, and I got the ATOL certificate, which I was proud of. And I thought, do you know what? The first thing I'll do a club, the first club in 2013, who win a trophy, who guarantee Europe.
Of course.
It was Swansea.
Right.
So I thought, well, my intention is to do England fans, and the first club I get is a Welsh club. Anyway, lo and behold, the first game they'd got, after winning I think it was the Carabao Cup, what it was then. So I knew I was going to be in Europa. And I thought, you know what? The first game they got was at Albion. It's only 10 miles down the road. So I got some flyers printed, went down, stood outside the away end, dishing all those flyers out, explaining, whoever they get in Europe, if they want to charter flights, this, that, and the other. Anyway, they drew a team called FC Ploietsi about an hour from Bucharest.
Okay.
And I thought, shall I try it? Shall I not? And this woman emailed me. I remember her name, Sharon. And she said, there's not many of us going. And there's a group of us. We're all flying to Bucharest, but we can't get to the game. Do you put a coach on? Now, unbeknown to me, people like Steve Alcott did that for England anyway. And it's not something that I'd even thought of. I thought, I want to do this Atoll thing, but not coaches.
Yeah.
So thanks to her, I thought, you know what, I'll give that a bash. So I got in touch with a Bucharest coach company, and I laid on these coach. Well, he was a coach. There was only about 60 of them went to the game, but they all come on the coach. And I thought, that was a decent idea. That was. Little did I know that it was already being done anyway.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I didn't know it was a standard thing. And I thought, you know what? You look at the Atoll thing and you look at a plane and you look at the down payment you pay on a plane. And if it all goes wrong, you lose a lot of money. With a coach, it's a little let risk. And I quite enjoyed what I did. And to be honest, I did 2 or 3 Swansea trips. And one of them was round to Napoli. We'll come on to that. I should have known better. Anyway, so the first time England had a chance of doing it, was 2013. England played Switzerland in Basel. And I thought, oh, yeah, I can do this. Yeah. So I got in touch with a few coach companies and put on 4 coaches from Geneva to Basel. I didn't know that, and I apologise, Stevie, for listening. I didn't know you did that. And a load of everybody booked with me. And I thought, well, that's a bit strange. I mean, I found out people were mailing saying, oh, Steve was doing this and Steve was doing that. But your price is better. Now I know why my price was better, because the coach company didn't exist.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I get to Geneva. I've been in touch with this coach company, no problem. I found them up. I paid them over all the thousands of euros. We were supposed to be, say, being picked up from the airport, 10:30. 10:30 came, 10:45 came, 200 England fans staring at me. Oops. And I thought, this is what it's all about, then, is it? And I had no idea what to do. And I thought, well, I have took insurance out, luckily, because that was for Atoll. And so I thought, well, I'm insured. What can I do? So I just said to everybody, look, best thing I can do is you want to get to the game, get yourself a train, get your receipt, I'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay. And of course, all I go off to Basel for the game. And then I started getting text messages. Yeah, but the reason we was going on your coach was because there's no train back. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know that. I don't know what to do. I just said, look, go to the game, enjoy it, I'll sort it. The coaches will be where they said they'll be. And I thought, right, everybody gets on the train. It's about 1 o'clock now. I've got about 7 hours to sort this. And I was racking my brain. I thought, you know what? I used to do books for a company who I knew a bloke who used to work for a local company called Hoverland. And I thought, I'm sure he based himself out in Switzerland. So I dug his name out. I found a few people and got his name. And I dropped him a text. I said, you don't know me, but I work for X. And you used to deal with them. And I hear you're in Switzerland and you're still in the travel agency business. And he comes back to me and he says, yeah, give me a ring. English bloke from Nottingham living in Switzerland. Amazing. So I rang him up and I said, this is my dilemma. And he went, he said, you got yourself in a bit of a pickle there, ain't you? I said, yeah, I have really. I said, so I need to get out of it. So I said, what can you do for me? So he comes back and he says, I've got your 4 coaches leaving the stadium, going back to the airport after the game.
Excellent.
I said, that's fabulous. He said, €6,000. I said, I don't pay €6,000 for the return leg. And he said, €6,000. And I thought, you know what? I'm insured. It's my first trip. My reputation's on the line here. So I said to him, okay, let's do it. And he comes back about an hour later. He said, they were going out on another job and yours is more profitable for them. He says, but they won't leave the yard until you pay them. And I says, where do you think I'm going to get €6,000 from right now? And you know, I never met the bloke. I just knew of him.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'll tell you what, mate," he says, "I'll pay and you pay me." And I thought, really? And I said, "You're really going to do that?" And he says, "Yeah." So he stuck by his word. He paid. But the thing was, I told him to pick the fans up at the original coach park, and the coaches actually went to the ground. So now outside the we all traipsed to the coach park after the game, and there's still no coaches for half an hour. And I thought, I've been done again.
No way.
So anyway, I'm phoning this bloke. It's 11 o'clock at night now, and he phones the coach company. Comes back to me. He says, "They're by the stadium." So we all had to traipse 20 minutes back to the stadium, and there they were.
Oh.
I've never been so happy in all my life to see 4 coaches. And I'll tell you what, they all went. They went back. 2 went back to Geneva. 2 went back to the airport, and it was then a case of getting onto the insurance company. And quite honestly, everybody sent the receipts back to me for the train. The bloke sent me his bill for £6,000. I totted it all up. I had to pay 17 grand out. Welcome to coaches abroad, I thought. So, it took 2 months, but the insurance paid out.
Oh, top stuff.
And I think, in all honesty, due to the, I mean, I thought that's the end of this. I might as well pack this in now. But I had that many people email me and say, "Do you know what? It's not a nice situation. You did your best. You're not an honourable person. We'll come with you again." And I thought, you know what? It's made me feel a bit better.
Yeah.
So that's where it grew from there. And obviously the next trip was, well, since then, 10 years later, I'm still scarred. So every time I try and get a coach, I'm obviously building up a lot of contacts now across Europe, but there's still the odd one where I do a country for the first time and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't think I trust them. So I wait for a cheap flight to come out and I fly out and meet them.
Okay.
No way do I take that risk again if I'm not turning up.
Yeah.
So that was an entertaining first trip that caused me hell. And to be honest, I mean, part of me is thinking, why did I carry on with that? I mean, why? And I just don't know. I must have got some sort of kick out of it, I'm sure. But as I say, that was all grateful, and that was all. The only one bloke I had in when we was at the game in Basel, he come up to me. I was having a drink in a bar, and he come up to me. He says, "Are you sure these coaches are coming back?" And I said, "Yeah, definitely." I said, the worst thing. I said, you'll have to get a taxi to get your flight. He says, "It's not that." He says, "I'm on dialysis, and my dialysis is in my hotel."
Oh, dear.
I thought, oh, yeah, now make me feel great. So anyway, we got back. So that's the end of that story.
Oh.
And
fair play for that. Your guy in Nottingham for stumping up the £6,000. I mean, not many people would do that.
Yeah, well, I've got I mean, looking back at it, he probably got him £3,000. He probably took £3,000 himself.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, why would a bloke pay £6,000 to on behalf of somebody he's never met? And then I think about it after. I thought, you know what? I bet because he was a local, he got him for £3,000. And when I said I couldn't afford to pay, he's like, "Hang on a minute, I'm missing out on £3,000 myself here." So he did it, knowing his risk was £3,000, not 6. But so anyway, I've kept in touch with him occasionally since then. I got him a ticket down the Molineux when Forest played a few years back.
Oh yeah,
and he was grateful for that. I wasn't, because I beat us 2-0. To rub salt in the wounds.
Yeah.
So I'll say since then, I've probably done 20-30. And a lot of the people who come on are regulars now, really.
Yeah.
They don't go. I mean, each one's got in general, a bit of a hitch, or I mean, I remember you just can't just. It's the language barrier.
Right.
I remember doing one coach from I think it was Slovenia. Oh no, it was 2 Slovenia, and it was from I think went from Venice and picked up in Italy somewhere, and as is every foreign coach, they lock the toilets. And you can guarantee everyone who books will say, "Is the toilet on board?" "Yeah, but I'll tell you now, they're not going to open it." Anyway, we was on the way to Slovenia, Ljubljana, however you pronounce it, and we pulled over at the services. And I didn't know some of the lads had opened the toilet with the 2 pence, and
right.
they'd been using it, and it was full to the brim.
Yeah.
And the coach driver, we was all having a 10-minute break. He come up to me and he refused to drive the coach any further. And I thought, oh, well, here we go again. And I was trying to have a slanging match with him, but he didn't understand English. I didn't understand Italian.
Yeah.
So I took him to the restaurant. I got myself a pint glass. I took him back to the coach and I pointed at the coach. I said, here, I'll sort this out for you. And I started scooping the wee out.
Oh.
I know, yeah. I thought, the things I'm doing here. And he was just looking at me bewildered. And I just kept scooping this out and throwing it on the floor. And I emptied it. And I said, now we carry on. And he refused.
Really?
And I thought, oh, my God. So I found up the head office. Fortunately, there was somebody there who spoke English. They gave him a right good telling off. And off he went. So, I mean, that's not something you expect to do when you sell a coach, is scoop people's bloody wee out with a pint glass. Most of the stories revolve about people stopping. The thing is, Russ, I mean, we went to Kosovo from Albania.
I was on your coach for one of those.
Yeah, well, they're their own worst enemy, because you're tootling along, right, and everybody's like wants to go to the toilet and they stop. But these foreign service stops, they all sell cans. So all these people who were shouting at me down the coach, Mark, can we stop? Can we stop? We're desperate, can we stop? So I get the driver to pull over. Now, knowing the toilet's not open, knowing how desperate they are, what do? They go buy another 4 cans of lager. and then we
Guilty.
Same scenario, half an hour later. Mark, can we stop? It's like, I thought I ain't had this since I took my kids on holiday when they was 2 and 4. Can we stop for the toilet? So, but as I say, we must have stopped on the way to Kosovo about 4 times. But then, as I say, they never learn. They just buy another lager and another lager. And as I say, it just. I'm sitting at the front of the coach and I'm trying to mind my own business. Then it's only about 10 minutes into the journey with Mark, can you tell the driver, turn the heating up, next bloke? Can you turn it down? The stress never ends. You don't think that's stress, but when you, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know them all, I have a laugh with them all, but it is quite stressful.
Yeah. Go on, take us back to, was it Brazil for the World Cup?
Now then, I would love to know if the bloke who sorted me out is listening. I did 2 coaches from Rio to Sao Paulo, and I've got 2 coaches from Rio to Belo Horizonte for the last game.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy, Chelsea fan, I won't mention his name. If he's listening, he'll know me. He hooked up with me and he said, I'm doing this trip, mate. And I said, are you? And he says, yeah. I said, I'm just struggling to get coaches. I said, they're just ripping me off. And he says, I've got a contact in Portugal. He said, and the Portuguese speak Brazilian, and he's got a mate out here. And I thought, oh, yeah, sounds good. And he says, what we'll do, he says, we'll combine together. I said, yeah, okay. I said, I'll advertise it on my website. You advertise it on yours. And he says, yeah. We said, well, I've got to pay the coaches. He says, when you take the money from your customers, you pay me. And I said, yeah, okay, no problem. So obviously all these bookings started coming through and I was sending the money to this bloke. And I said, how are we going to work this? I said, because originally I was only out for the Sao Paulo, the first game. He said, you look after my coach's first game. I'll look after your coach's second game. I said, yeah, okay, no problem. So I'm collecting all my money in, sending me money across to him and keeping in touch. I met up with a guy in the Hard Rock Cafe in London and seemed a genuine guy. And anyway, the coach, a side story was he was selling tickets. He said, if you know anybody who wants tickets, I've got tickets for the opening game against Uruguay. So I put a few people in touch with him who then directly dealt with him. And anyway, so we get to Rio for the opening game. And we met in a bar in Ipanema, I think it was. And met, say, 6 o'clock. We was leaving 11 o'clock at night and driving through the night. I landed in Rio. I could not get hold of this bloke. And he did put me in touch with the Portuguese guy who was out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I managed to get out of his number. And I says, can you get out? I'll say his name. I said, can you get out of Stuart? And this Portuguese guy, he looked a bit like Max Clifford, to be fair. He says, I've not heard of Stuart. He said, for 2 weeks.
Oh,
I said, well, I've heard from him. I said, but he's supposed to be here. I said, I'm looking after his coaches. And he won't tell me who his passengers are. I said, all I know is my 2 coaches are coming to this bar, Jim's bar or something in Ipanema. But he's not telling me where his passengers are. Last minute, he phones me up And he says, all right, Mark, Stuart here. I said, how do you do, Stuart? All right. He says, yeah. He says, change your plan. My coaches are going from a campsite in Brazil. You don't need to look after mine. I thought, oh, fair enough. So anyway, coaches come along, went down to Sao Paulo. Decent trip, other than the fact that I got a few people on my coach who bought tickets of him, and there was no tickets there when they got there. So I got them looking at me, and that weren't my fault. So we get the coach back to Rio. I fly home. I get in touch with him, and I said, okay. I said, I know your coaches weren't there. I said, but you've still got one on your side of the bargain and look after mine in Belo Horizonte. And he said, yeah, okay. I get home on the Saturday night, woke up Sunday morning. I got an email from the Portuguese bloke. Hi, Mark. This is just to let you know, your coach is Monday night to Belo Horizonte. They won't start out until you pay €4,000. And I said, I've paid Stuart €4,000. He said, he hasn't paid the coach company.
No.
He'd done a runner.
Oh, I bet you thought, here we go again.
Here we go. He'd done a runner. And I said to the bloke, I said, Stuart's looking after them. I said, it's Sunday afternoon now. I said, and I've got to be in Brazil 6 o'clock tomorrow night. I've not got a flight. He said, well, he says, unless you bring me £4,000. He said, they ain't going. Oh, we go again. So I spent all Sunday afternoon trying to get a flight. I get a flight Monday morning, Air France. I land in Rio, 6 o'clock. This bloke meets me at the airport. I've used about 4 credit cards to draw euros out. Meet this bloke at the airport. I'll give him the €4,000 and off he shoots. And he says, I'll see you later tonight, 11 o'clock. I'll go from the airport, 6 o'clock. I'll get to the bar at 8 o'clock. Everybody's waiting for me. Brilliant. I found the bloke and I said, okay. I said, we're all here. He don't answer his phone. I thought, oh, no. Come on here. I don't know. 2 hours, I'm ringing him between 8 and 10. Don't answer his phone. And I'm thinking, I've not only have I paid this Stuart, Christ knows what, I've now just give this bloke £4,000 in cash. And he's done a runner. Anyway, I'm in the bar, drowning my sorrows. And this bloke walks up to me, England fan. He says, yeah, doing Mark, all right? I said, yeah. He says, coaches them early, ain't they? I said, what do you mean? He said, them round the corner. Oh, my God. I went running out the pub, went round the corner. The coaches were there waiting. Half an hour later, Max Clifford turns up. He took my money. He'd gone to the coach company to pay the coaches. He'd left his phone on the bus.
Ah.
So what turned out what could have been disaster was basically a genuine story of the bloke losing his phone. Coaches were there. We got to Belo Horizonte, dropped us off about 9 o'clock in the morning. I think it was a 1 o'clock kickoff. And I thought, absolutely fantastic. Okay, I'm down on money. The people have got there. They've enjoyed the World Cup. Like, we come out of the game and one of the coaches had been broken into.
No.
Oh. Yeah. I sent the first lot back to Rio, and then the rest of them, 50 of them, standing there, and they're saying all our stuff's been nicked. They're having the bloke who left his phone. He'd had his phone nicked as well that morning, so I couldn't get hold of him again. And I saw him walking around the bar. I called him. I said, "What's happening?" He said, "The drivers took the coaches to a coach park. They got off to have some lunch, and while I was having lunch, somebody raided one of the coaches." So everyone's arguing the toss with me, saying the coach drivers shouldn't have left the coaches. Max Clifford's telling them they deserve a lunch break. Everyone's saying, and while we're all arguing, 2 police cars turn up with all the stuff. They'd found the people. They'd found the people, arrested them, and got everybody's stuff back.
Oh, fair play. Oh,
and Russ, you live by the. Honestly, you fly by the seat of your pants.
Don't you just?
And you got to remember that's 2014. That's basically a year after I was ripped off in Geneva.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, I think I need tablets here. It's the pitfalls are just, but the coach got back to Rio. Well, the window was smashed. Everybody was freezing on the coach, but we all got back. Everyone was happy. I get off the coach 3 o'clock in the morning, and I think that's fantastic. And then I thought, hang on a minute, I didn't book myself an hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh no, I took all that time trying to get the trip sorted. I never got myself an hotel. I couldn't find one. I thought, what do I do now? My flight was back that night. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to sit on the bloody Copacabana, sitting there, and I just drank Bacardi till the sun came up. I went out to the beach, dug a hole in the sand, put my wallet in my right-hand pocket, lay with my wallet in the hole in the sand and fell asleep on the beach for 2 hours. Had a bath in the sea. And then I'm sitting there relaxing, thinking, it's 1 o'clock, my flight's at 7. My wife phones me up. She says, are you on Air France? I said, yeah. They said, they've gone on strike.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh.
I said, you have got to be kidding. She said, no. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, so I just jumped in a taxi to the airport and I managed, they changed me to a flight, the last flight before the strike. So I was flying at 7 o'clock. They flew me at 4 o'clock and they managed to get me on because of the strike. But not only that, the only seat left was in business class.
Oh,
so,
dear.
So to term a phrase, what a happy ending.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. My word.
So, yeah. So, I mean, anybody, I know Paul from Block 109 does this now, and I know Dean does it now. Hopefully they've never come across anything like this, and that hopefully they never do come across anything like this. But it doesn't matter how hard you try. You can imagine now for the last 6 years, my trust in coach companies has gone down the pan. Yeah. So I always, the Portuguese blokes now contact. So I've done like from Albufeira to Seville and I've done Lisbon. Well, I did the Nations League from Lisbon. Wherever the games was. Where was they? Well,
in Porto, wasn't it?
So yeah, just outside Porto, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I can trust him now, and I've got other people I trust. And
that little black book of yours,
the little black book, of trust. Yeah. There's not many people in it, but people still book. I think it's because that they know if anything arises like that, and it can happen. It can happen to anybody. That at the end of the day, I'll do my best to get them out of it.
Yeah.
Such is the situation we've got with Napoli now.
Well, let's come to that. I mean, here we are, 10 years on, and 25th of November last year, the Italian FA announced that Naples was going to be the venue for this game. What were you going like? Okay, right, should be straightforward, straight on that.
Well, I should have thought that, but I did Swansea from Rome to Napoli.
Oh yeah, you said
yeah, and I'd got 6 coaches there from Rome, the same pickup point we got here. Coach company turned up, no problem. We set out early enough. The game was 8:45. We set out at 2 o'clock. And we'd only got around about 20 minutes, and we stopped. And then we stopped again. It transpired the coach drivers were in contact with the Naples police. Now, the Naples police were slowing down the coaches from Rome because they wanted to meet them on the outskirts of Napoli. And they wanted to get into the ground at the same time as the fans from the port. Because I think what you'll find, the England FA, they haven't gone out to do their recce yet, but the norm is for fans to be pushed towards the port, have a drink around there, and then shuttle buses are put on. And I think my coach is coming from Rome. We're going to hit the edge of Napoli, say 5 o'clock, and the port buses weren't leaving till, say, 7. So they did their utmost to delay the coaches till the edge of Napoli.
Gotcha.
Then we was driving round and round in circles, and we hooked up with the coaches from the port, and we carried on driving round and round and round. And kickoff was at 8:45. We got to the ground at 9:05. It was planned by the police to get the Swansea fans from the port and the England fans and the Swansea fans from Rome to miss the kickoff, because obviously they were aware the local Napoli fans would have attacked the coaches.
Yeah.
So from their perspective, it looked better to arrive late and have no trouble than it did to explain to UEFA why 6 coaches was stoned.
Right, yeah, I get you.
So, and obviously we get off the coach, and I got loads of Swansea fans wanting to wring me neck because I missed kickoff. However, they all calmed down when they realised the coaches from the port, which is like 20 minutes away, arrived after us. So we got there before them. And then Swansea were given some compensation for what happened. And I had a load of Swansea fans email me apologising for their behaviour on the night towards me, saying they realised it wasn't my mistake. So anyway, move forward to England. And I thought, I know the coach company. I'll get in touch with them. I says, can we do this trip again? Yeah. Can we set out earlier again? This. Yeah, we'll do this. I said, because there's no way I'm missing kickoff. We have to pick up tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll set out early. We'll go by what you want to do. this and that, the other. So I put the trip on and got a load of bookings. And then, hey ho, about 10 days ago, a Roma coach was on her way to a game somewhere, and a Naples coach was on a game somewhere else. They met on the motorway. And of course, there was a big dust up, and I think the Roma coach was attacked. I got in touch with my coach. Well, they got in touch with me and said, no, we're not going to do the trip. I said, no, you've got to do the trip. I said, I've had 150 people pay me. I said, the majority want to get back to Rome after. I said, I'm not having this again with the bloody Geneva Basel thing. I said, you've got to do the trip. And I said, yeah, okay, we'll do the trip. €1,500 security deposit per coach.
Per coach?
Per coach, yeah. I said, 4,500. He said, yeah. I said, look, I can tell you now to a man, never, ever, ever have I had trouble on my coaches. Every person who comes on my England coach, never a bother. Roguish they can be, but never a bother. But I wouldn't even say roguish. High jinks, high entertainment sort of thing. But no, never had a I said, honestly, you'll not have any problems with them. And they said, it's not you. It's the Napoli fans. And I said, you want 4,500 off me because of your people. Yeah. I said, okay, if that's what I've got to do, that's what I've got to do. Move forward a week, and a lower league game just on the outskirts of Naples. Don't know who the game was between. Coach was firebombed or set on fire. Yeah. So to which the coach company phoned me up and said, you can forget your 1,500 deposit as well. They said, we're not doing it. And I said, you've got to. Next thing you know, they put the money back on my card. So I'll get in touch with the Rome Tourist Board. They give me, I must have had 10, 15 coach companies. Not one would touch it. Not one. Now, so I'm thinking, I'm going to have to cancel. And I thought, I'm very aware, and I'm one of them who's going to get back to bloody Rome after the game. I was thinking, what's the plan now? So I'll get in touch with a few Naples companies, and they're more than happy to do the one way. They realise the situation, so obviously take advantage of the price, but they were more than happy. And I thought, I've never used a Naples company. Have I really got to fly out? And I thought, do you know what? I've got to go and explain the situation. I didn't tell them the Rome company had bailed. I just said, oh yeah, I've got a load of England fans who we're all going down on the train because we want to go to Pompeii and have a bit of a look around, and then we go to the game. And I said, we just need to get back. And they were like, yeah, no problem. So I went down to the office, met everybody. I saw the coaches. I'm happy with that. I did have one person say, your supporters? Yeah. Are they hooligans? I thought, you don't even go there. The reason I'm stood in your
hypocritical
is the reason I'm stood in your office is because of your bloody hooligans. So anyway, so now we get on well with them. I got on well with them.
Oh, good.
And they're happy to do the trip, and they're going to arrive at the stadium just before the end of the game, and the park at the back. If the park where the Swansea coaches are, it's at the bottom of the steps where you come out the away end. So, is it a happy ending yet? Well, so far, so good.
Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you and everyone on board.
I've met them. I've seen the coaches. They're good. I've shown them my England Members Club card. Oh, yeah. I've shown them the terms and conditions for the England Members Club when she asked about hooligans. And I explained, anybody in any trouble, you're kicked out of the club, you're going to have no problems with. And I think they realise they're not going to have a problem with their fans because A, they're a local company, and B, they must have done this trip before. They know that the streets are going to be cleared, and they're going to come out, they're going to arrive at the ground empty. So nobody's going to attack an empty coach. And then they're going to arrive at the ground. We're all going to come out, and by which time all the locals would have disappeared. And I'm fingers crossed. It's not a club game, and I'm not overly sure Naples fans are bothered about the Italian team. I don't think Italy like the rest of Napoli, and I don't think Napoli like the rest of Italy. So there's a sort of we're not following the national team. That don't stop the idiots hanging around, does it? So, so as I say, I had a good run for about 8 years without any hassle, and then trust Napoli to come round and bite me on the bum again.
Well, I wish you all the best, and I mean, here's to another 10 years of happy coach travelling around Europe and beyond.
Well, to be fair, Russ, I was going to say I was going to put in everybody's email. Sorry about this. I can only do a one way back. I'm retiring. However, I've got 8 coaches in Malta and 3 in Macedonia. Whether I knock it on the head at the end of 2023 after this, I don't know. If it all turns out well and I've got the rest of the trips this next year, then I do get a hassle.
Yeah,
it is stressful, but you also get a buzz from it. And if I could just say, the coaches from Alicante, from Benidorm to Alicante, if Leach is listening, Leach, you still owe me that point for scabbing a lift back on that bloke's lap. So, yeah.
By jinx.
Well, as I say, everybody wanted to get back to Benidorm, and I've got 3 coaches. And unbeknown to me, 3 coaches is 150 people. Unbeknown to me, there was probably about 180 on them, of which one admitted it and said,
right.
I don't mind that. That's a laugh. That's a giggle. Yeah. I ain't bothered about that. And I get no trouble from any of them. They're all golden. And that's probably why the reason I love doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot. So may it continue. Now, Mark, thank you very much for joining us and just giving us a little history to On the Ball Travel. I'll just, the quick time we've got left is, do you still want to give the website out?
Forget your www, you all know that. It's ontheballtravel.com. As I say, ontheballtravel.com. Emails Mark at ontheballtravel.com. If you want to ever just look at the website and see what I'm doing, that you crack on. And you've heard the stories. If you want to be part of the fun, carry on. If you don't want to take the risk, take the train.
Love it, Mark. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it, and maybe I'll see you in Naples.
Yeah, not what sort of mess I'll be in. I have no idea. A stressed mess probably, but I'll see you out there, mate. No problem.
Will do, mate. Take care.
Okay, cheers, mate. Ta-ra, mate. Ta-ra.
My many thanks to Mark for his time there. Really gives us an insight to the amount of time, effort and money that is put into organising these coaches for us. And it's not just Mark, everyone else who has done it at some point of time. I'm sure many already do, but the next time you get a coach, just make sure you give the organiser a nod, a thanks at the very least. And Italy away. Obviously, we spoke about that there with Mark. If you are a travel club member and if you've renewed or joined up, then the registration is now open, and it's open until 2:00 Thursday, the 16th of February. Still, so far, there is no news on what the actual allocation will be. But if you intend on going, make sure you register your interest. You can do that via the FA website, however I think it's a link on a recent email that they sent out. But that's it from me. As always, thanks for listening. Don't forget you can follow the show on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just search 3 Lions Podcast. I say all the social medias. It's not on TikTok because I can't be doing with that. And just search 3 Lions Podcast. You'll find it there. I'll be back again with you very soon. I've spoken to someone recently about a really interesting project that you may have heard about in the news. Although I'm also aware that the Lionesses games in the Arnold Clark Cup are coming up very soon. So depending on when that squad is announced will depend on which episode I put out next. I'm not really sure. But basically, stay subscribed and you won't miss it. So until then, look after yourselves. Take care. Cheers.